June 2016, London's Wembley Arena. 10,000 people are on their feet screaming as a woman in a flowing burgundy gown takes the stage. Fireworks explode. Alicia Keys' Girl on Fire blares through the speakers. This isn't a rock concert. This is a cryptocurrency presentation. And the woman commanding this stage is about to pull off one of the biggest financial crimes in history. Her name is Ruja Ignatova, but the world would come to know her as the Crypto Queen. And in just 18 months, she would steal over $4 billion and vanish without a trace. Ruja's story begins in Rus, Bulgaria, in 1980. Born into a Romani family, her father was a mechanical engineer, her mother a nursery school teacher. When the Iron Curtain fell in 1990, 10-year-old Ruja and her younger brother Konstantin emigrated to Germany with their family, settling in a small apartment in Schramberg. But Ruja was ambitious. She earned a law degree from Oxford. She worked for McKinsey, one of the world's most prestigious consulting firms. On paper, she was brilliant, successful, legitimate, the perfect person to trust with your money. Then, in 2014, she saw her opportunity. Bitcoin was making headlines. Cryptocurrency was the future, and most people had no idea how it actually worked. Ruja realized, if people don't understand it, you can sell them anything. In 2014, Ruja founded OneCoin from Sofia, Bulgaria, alongside Sebastian Greenwood. Their pitch was simple and seductive. OneCoin would be the Bitcoin killer. In 2 years, she promised, nobody would talk about Bitcoin anymore. But OneCoin was never a cryptocurrency. It was a pyramid scheme dressed in blockchain buzzwords. There was no real mining, no public blockchain, no actual value, just a private database that Ruja controlled completely. Investors bought educational packages costing between 100 and 118,000 euros, packages filled with content plagiarized from Wikipedia. In return, they received worthless tokens they were told would make them rich. The scheme was genius in its simplicity. Investors recruited more investors. Each one paid hefty fees and earned commissions for bringing in others. And Ruja? She stood at the top of the pyramid, convincing millions that they were getting in on the ground floor of the next financial revolution. By 2017, OneCoin had attracted over 3.5 million victims from around the world. The money flooding in? Over $4 billion. But by 2016, cracks were forming. Investors tried to sell their OneCoins to cash out their profits. They couldn't. The coins were worthless. Online forums erupted with complaints. Investigative journalists started asking questions. Words like scam and fraud began appearing in articles. International authorities took notice. The FBI, Europol, and prosecutors from multiple countries launched investigations. In Germany, Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Bulgaria, warning notices went out. Direct selling associations compared OneCoin to a pyramid scheme. The net was closing. Ruja knew she was being watched. According to her brother Konstantin's later testimony, she called her critics haters and grew paranoid that someone would turn her in. But what she didn't know was that the threat was much closer to home. Ruja had an American boyfriend. Worried he might betray her, she bugged his apartment with listening devices. What she heard must have made her blood run cold. He was cooperating with federal investigators. He was wearing a wire. Everything she told him was being recorded by the FBI. On October 12, 2017, a sealed indictment was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. Ruja Ignatova was officially charged with wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. Each charge carried a maximum sentence of 20 years. She was facing life in prison, but somehow she found out, either through corrupt law enforcement contacts or her own intelligence network. Ruja was tipped off. She had days, maybe hours, before the warrant would be executed. October 25, 2017. Ruja was scheduled to speak to a crowd of OneCoin investors in Lisbon. Thousands had gathered, but Ruja never showed up. Instead, that morning, she boarded a budget Ryanair flight from Sofia, Bulgaria to Athens, Greece. According to Konstantin's testimony, she had obtained a new passport. He called it a big passport, and tickets to Vienna and Athens. She walked through the airport. She boarded the plane. She landed in Athens. And then, nothing. Ruja Ignatova vanished. No credit card transactions, no phone records, no sightings. The crypto queen had pulled off her final disappearing act. With Ruja gone, someone had to run OneCoin. That someone was her younger brother, Konstantin Ignatov. He stepped into his sister's role, becoming the company's top leader. For over a year, he kept the scam running. At OneCoin events, he told investors he was in regular contact with Ruja, that she was still involved in decision-making, that everything was fine. It was all a lie. Konstantin admitted in court testimony that he hadn't spoken to his sister since October 2017. He'd even hired a private investigator to find her. Nothing. On March 6, 2019, Konstantin's luck ran out. As he arrived at Los Angeles International Airport, FBI agents were waiting. He was arrested on wire fraud conspiracy charges. Konstantin made a choice. In October 2019, he signed a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to fraud and money laundering, and then he did something that would have been unthinkable just months before. He cooperated with prosecutors. He testified against other OneCoin conspirators. He revealed his sister's crimes. He snitched on his own mother, Veska, who had been instrumental in OneCoin's operations. In his testimony, Konstantin revealed that Ruja had stashed hundreds of millions of dollars in cash in apartments in Dubai, Hong Kong, and South Korea. One by one, Ruja's co-conspirators fell. Sebastian Greenwood, OneCoin's co-founder, was arrested in Thailand in July 2018. He was extradited to the United States, where he pleaded guilty to wire fraud and money laundering. Mark Scott, a former partner at a major U.S. law firm, had laundered over $400 million of OneCoin funds through shell companies and offshore accounts. Konstantin's testimony was instrumental in Scott's conviction. Irina Dilkinska, who'd worked closely with Scott, reportedly panicked when she heard of his arrest. "I'm fucked now," she told Konstantin. She was right. In March 2023, she was caught and extradited from Bulgaria to the United States to face charges. But Ruja remained a ghost. In June 2022, the FBI took the extraordinary step of adding her to the 10 most wanted fugitives list, one of only 11 women to ever appear on that list since it was created in 1950. She became the only woman currently on it. The reward for information leading to her arrest started at $100,000. By June 2024, it had jumped to $5 million. Where is Ruja Ignatova? Authorities believe she may be traveling on a fraudulent German passport. She has known connections to Bulgaria, Germany, Russia, Greece, and the United Arab Emirates. She speaks English, German, and Bulgarian. She may have changed her appearance through plastic surgery. But there's another darker possibility. In 2023, Bulgarian investigative journalists published a bombshell report based on police documents. According to a police informant, Ruja may have been murdered in November 2018. The alleged killer, a Bulgarian drug lord known as Taki, who had initially helped shelter her. The reported motive? To prevent her from revealing his involvement in the OneCoin scheme. According to the informant, Ruja was killed aboard a yacht in the Ionian Sea. Her body was dismembered and thrown overboard. While investigators debate whether Ruja is alive or dead, 3.5 million victims are left holding the bag. People from every continent poured their life savings into OneCoin. Teachers, nurses, small business owners, retirees. They believed they were investing in the future. Instead, they were funding one woman's lavish lifestyle and her ultimate escape. The U.S. Department of Justice estimates OneCoin defrauded victims of more than $4 billion worldwide, but most of the money is gone. In March 2024, Konstantin Ignatov finally learned his fate. After cooperating with prosecutors for nearly 5 years, he received a time-served verdict, 34 months behind bars. The brother who'd helped to run a $4 billion fraud walked free, while his sister remained the world's most wanted woman. As for Ruja, if she's alive, she's living under a new identity, constantly looking over her shoulder, unable to enjoy the fortune she stole. If she's dead, her body lies somewhere at the bottom of the Ionian Sea. Either way, the crypto queen's reign is over. The OneCoin scandal remains a stark warning when something sounds too good to be true, when promises are grand but details are vague, when recruiters pressure you to get in now before it's too late. Run cryptocurrency can be revolutionary, but it can also be a perfect vehicle for fraud. Do your research. Ask questions. And remember, if there's no public blockchain, no transparent transactions, and no way to independently verify value, you're not investing in the future. You're funding a criminal's escape plan. Ruja Ignatova is still out there. Will she ever face justice? Or will the Crypto Queen remain one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries? One thing is certain. Somewhere, somehow, someone knows the truth.